You may notice that pretty much nobody has a vehicle they call the Type O because, you know, that sounds like a typo. But this is a Type S, and it's an Acura, and it's a super handling all-wheel drive Acura with an air suspension and a turbocharged V6 engine that puts out 355 horsepower. Well, that's a horse of a different color, ain't it? Well, there's no horses out here to comment on that at the moment, but I think the answer is yes. Want to learn more? Come with me. Hear that airplane flying over? What's controlling that airplane? Is it a remote? Oh no. That airplane has a pilot. And does the car before you have a pilot? Well, it's sort of when somebody's driving it, but the fact is it is not a pilot, which is made by Honda and which is built on roughly the same chassis. But this is the MDX from Acura, Honda's luxury sport nameplate. And it's got a lot of the same and a lot of the different in terms of the pilot's heritage. And they've built an amazingly cool, competent sport utility that has a real heavy on the sport, especially the Type S designation you see before you. Now, unlike a lot of Acura MDXs that came before it, like pretty much all of them, this one has a very, very interesting transversely mounted 3-liter turbocharged V6 engine that puts out 355 horsepower. And it also has something I've never seen on an Acura before, a 4-wheel air suspension that allows it to be lifted up into the, well, it's basically there to give you more ground clearance should you wander off-road with it. And it's quite an increase, by the way, folks. It's like, this is no like tiny, a half-inch or something. No, it's much more than that. It really picks the whole chassis up. And it really increases the versatility of the vehicle. If you're interested in taking it camping or wherever, maybe exploring. But mainly, I think this is a vehicle that's designed to perform very, very well on the highway. And to do that, if you may remember with the Honda Pilot, they have a VVM something or other 5000 something or other all-wheel drive system. Well, this Acura has Acura's all-wheel drive system, which isn't exactly the same. A lot of what we're talking about are the ins and outs of software. But this vehicle has Acura's SH-AWD system, which is super handling all-wheel drive. And essentially what it's saying is that the all-wheel drive system comes into play all the time for all kinds of stability, traction assist, everything you need to make the big vehicle handle better. Speaking of big, we're looking at 123-inch wheelbase. Excuse, I'm a liar. I was thinking of something else. It's 113.8-inch wheelbase. And it weighs roughly 4,800 pounds, so it's a big vehicle. However, it doesn't feel like a big vehicle when you drive it. It's actually very, very light on its feet. And boy, does it have room in it. If you may recall, the original Honda Pilot was based on the Honda Odyssey minivan. And it's always had very usable third-row seating in it. And the Acura is very, very close relative, so it too has always had very usable third-row seating. Of course, the second and the first rows aren't bad either. But what you have is a really, like an upstep, if you will, much more polished version of the Pilot in a car that uses, like all the, for example, Nissan's got their Infiniti, Hyundai's got their Genesis, Toyota has their Lexus. It's almost like they build the car based on some of their other vehicles, except the price tag's going to be higher so they can use better components and more technology. And they really enjoy doing that because that gives the engineers a lot more room to play and to make a much more exciting vehicle to drive. How exciting? Well, let me show you all the mechanical bits and then you can judge for yourself. As we take we take several rides, mostly in the rain, because this is a real nice day today, but rain is coming, as you will see. And actually, in a way, this is a real good test for this vehicle because the super handling all-wheel drive system is designed to keep it planted and assured and going forward even when the pavement or the ground or the trail or whatever is kind of nasty. So without further ado, let's take a look at the engine bay. "Zounds," he said, when he observed for the first time this amazing jewel of an engine. Now, this is a first for me, and I'm trying to think right off the bat whoever else has an engine like this. I can't think right off the bat, but there's a couple of things that make this very unique for the most part. It's a V6 engine that is mounted transversely. There's nothing unique about that, but it's turbocharged. Turbocharged to the point you have 355 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 354 pounds of feet in your torque department, which ranges at peak ranges from 1,400 RPM up to 5,000 RPM. So that's a lot of output from a 3-liter engine. I find that very impressive. But what's even more impressive is how they figured out how to lay this thing in here with the turbocharging, because it's quite unique. Like I said, this is the front of the engine right here. Your cylinders are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right in there. And the exhaust manifolds, since there's 2 and this is a V, your exhaust manifolds, there's one in front and there's one in back. So where in the world is this, a twin turbocharger like like a Ford EcoBoost or something like that? No, it is a single turbocharger, but it's a twin scroll unit, which means where some of it you have one scroll, this one has 2 scrolls, thus the term. Anyway, what that ultimately means is there's all kinds of problems when you get to 6 cylinders and turbocharging if you have one turbocharger, because there's all kinds of pumping things going on with the engine, and when it's going through its normally firing phases and that kind of thing. So you can actually develop pulses coming out of the respective exhaust manifolds that are not necessarily conducive to always supplying the turbocharger with power. And the turbocharger, of course, is powered by exhaust gases that zoom through a turbine, and then the turbine has a long shaft on it that runs over to a compressor, and the compressor is what's taking in the outside air and compressing it. And then all that has to be cooled, because the process of compressing it warms it up quite a bit. So it has to go through a intercooler and back up into the fuel injection system. So where's the turbocharger, you ask? Is it in the back or somewhere? Well, it's actually in the back. Hi, camera shadow. I'm being followed by a camera shadow. Yeah. Right here, you can actually see the turbocharger right there. And that is the part, here's the hot part, which is the turbine that comes off. The exhaust is plumbed around the back of the engine here to go into that turbocharging unit. And then what it does is it spins up here and then spins the impeller right there, which compresses the gases that come in from the air box. Here's your air box right here, and here's your flow comes right in here and is fed into that. Now when it's fed into this, it gets compressed, and then if you look, I'll show you where it is, right up front here. If you can see that, I can't see because of the sun. There it is. There's a cooling exchanger right there, also known as a radiator by some, where that air, which has been compressed and heated, is cooled, and then it goes, camera shadow, all the way over here underneath and comes up, and this big fella here, I believe, is your primary air source into your direct fuel injection. Now, unlike other engines these days, this particular 3-liter V6 is all direct injection. There's not also a port injection aspect to it. which is kind of unusual because most people are going to both now. And the reason they go to both is with direct injection, there are some drawbacks to it. It's certain performance parameters in the rev range. Sometimes port fuel injection works a little better, but the main reason people are putting port fuel injection in as well as direct injection is to help stop carbon buildup, which is a problem that direct injected engines have. But knowing Honda, they have a solution for that that's different. What is it? I have no idea. But I'm assuming that you're not going to have excessive carbon buildup with this engine. I'm guessing just because I have faith. I have faith in Honda / Acura to deal with that problem because let's face it, Acuras usually have a very, very good reliability record and they last a very long time with just a modicum of maintenance. So, but there's this amazing engine, and like I say, you can't see. I could yank this cover off of here, but I ain't gonna do that. Incidentally, your oil requirements are 0W20, which is terrific because that's a very, very common flavor of oil these days. Now, if I had to complain about one thing about this beautiful engine, is it suffers from tundrology, from the tundra, in that I wish the hood would open more. It's kind of a clamshell affair. That's as high as it gets. And I'm just weird. It's one of my weird foibles. I like a hood that opens more so you get more light in there if you need to get underneath and tinker. But you know, an Acura, are you going to be spending a lot of time tinkering? Probably not. So, what about the gearbox, you ask? Yes, we have a 10-speed automatic transmission. And it's pretty much conventional in nature. It's not one of these direct shift or dual clutch. At least to the best of my knowledge, it's not. I'll look into that. I just know it has 10 speeds. And we'll talk about that transmission quite a bit because I find it to be, well, I don't want to say I don't like it, but it's very close ratio and it seems to be a little less smooth than I'm used to out of Acura, but that could be this unit, could be the fact that this unit has very, very, very low miles on it. It's just starting in, breaking in, and all that stuff. And no matter what people tell you, I'm telling you, a new car needs to break in. All the parts need to fit together and wear in just a bit so that everything is working optimally. It's the same thing I always tell people when you first get your new car. You're probably not going to have the world's best mileage because everything's not broken in mechanically. Plus, your tires are as sticky as they're possibly going to get when the car is brand new, and they need to wear in a little bit before they have a lower rolling resistance and therefore better gas mileage. So there's so much more to see, but that's your engine compartment and your drivetrain, which is a very unique one. And everything's turbocharged, guys. Just gonna have to realize that. The days of the normally aspirated V6 are going the way of the dodo. The wheels of Acura. They are conceived and shorn on the Mount Acura, located in southern Georgia. No, I'm making all that up. These are 21-inch wheels, folks. And as you can see with those massive Brembo, yes, Brembo calipers, these are Brembo brakes, which are some of the best there are, period. The Italian firm has been putting brakes on everything that's high performance for many, 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 many years now. And so when they pop up on your car, it's a very good thing because that means a lot of serious consideration was put into making sure this thing can stop when it gets going. All 4,800 pounds of it, if you get it up there at a latch speed, you'll be able to haul it down real quick. And the tire size is 275/40 R21. We got our Continental cross contacts on there. And are these run flats? I don't know, I can't tell. But I have a feeling, you can just feel it. I can feel it in my bones now when a vehicle probably doesn't have a spare tire. I've been delightfully proved wrong several times. This being the Type S. Maybe that means Type S means for spare. It has a, well, I doubt that. But anyway, like I said, our 113.8-inch wheelbase. And if you'll note the beautiful sculpted bodywork, it's very similar to the Honda Pilot, but I think we have a little bit more of a fastback treatment towards the rear end of it, which you would expect. This being more of a sporty type of vehicle compared to the Pilot. Although that Pilot's getting sporty, it's got a lot of sporty stuff to it. Now, if we come back here, well, I do like, I mentioned this earlier, or maybe I didn't, I don't know. Look at them exhaust pipes, aren't they beautiful? It's one thing I'll miss on when everything goes to electric is I do like cool looking exhaust is always pretty, but we can live without it. Whee! Look at all the space. Oh my gosh. This is our third row right here. And when it is deployed, as it is now, you have 16.3 cubic feet of space behind it, which is actually pretty good for a vehicle of this length. This is not massively long. It's a big vehicle, but it's not massively long. And this being, I'm actually doing this on Halloween. And look at there's a spider. There's a spider right up to frightening you, right up there on that front passenger seat. He's going to scare the hell out of you. So you be careful now. I don't want you to be upset. But this is also a cargo king because you got your tethers, by the way, here for your rear child seat. And then we pull that up and shove that forward. Boonk. And we do the same on this side. Yeah. Look at all that room. Now what we have in the second row is something very delightful that I haven't seen in a while. It's an actual bench seat, and I have the armrest deployed forward, but you can actually absolutely get 3 people in that back seat, so it increases your versatility. This would be a situation where you could easily seat 7 people. 2 in the third row, 3 in the second row, and naturally 2 up front. And if you have the second row opened up, which I did, you have 39.1 cubic feet of space. And if you fold that row up too, you have a grand total of 71.4 cubic feet of cargo space. Nice, huh? And this area is very well finished, just like, you know, there's just a marked difference between how they furnish this part of the vehicle with a sport utility, depending on what class you're in. If you're in more of a luxury sport class like this, they use much higher material, much higher quality materials. So it's nice and soft and wonderful. But I'm sure either through Acura or the aftermarket, if you want to put some rubber mats back here, because you're always hauling things that are dirty and you know, like them little eco bricks that you haul from the grocery store that you put in your wood stove, stuff like that. So what do we have underneath here? Ooh, we have a lot of storage space considering this is a 3-row. Oops, I'm going to drop this. I'm going to put it right there for the moment. And here's stuff, and I don't see anything here. What's that say? I can't see what that's actually. Oh yes, in this compartment here, since we don't have a conventional filler with a cap on it for the fuel tank, you have to have a special funnel if you have to add gas in an emergency situation. You see that on most of these vehicles now that decide it's just the greatest thing ever to not have a cap. And I've never understood that, why so many manufacturers love to not put a cap on and just a trap door instead. I don't know if people regularly lose them. Do they have problems with it not sealing properly and a check engine light going on? I don't know why, but instead that's what they want to do. Here we have our we have a gate shut right there button you can press, and then we have it's something, a hook there with a maximum of 3 kilograms you can put on there. Now if you don't have the conversion to kilograms, you're out of luck. I mean, you might tie your elephant up against that and they'll just rip it right out. So be advised, check out your charts and find out how much in pounds your 3 kilograms is. I can't tell you right off the bat. I'm going to say 6.2 pounds, but I don't know. Then you have a power outlet, which is convenient. And on the other side, we don't have anything. We have nothing. And I don't see any really cool little dome lights. Well, there is a dome light up here, right there, but you don't have any cool little cargo lamps. And you know how I love them cool little cargo lamps. I really do. But anyway, over here is our battery. Our battery is underneath here. Well, I'm not going to open that because then we'll have more stuff lying around everywhere. And somewhere in here, I believe, is a flat repair kit. I thought I saw it earlier. Oh, here we go. Over here, no, that's some instructions on how to slide the... I think you can actually, can you remove this third row? I have no idea. It's complicated. Here's your tie down right there. So as far as what you do if you have a flat, I would imagine somewhere in here there is a flat repair kit, or a motility kit as they try to dress it up. Because, well, you don't repair the flat nowadays, you just deal with it. You remain motile so you can go somewhere where they can repair it. There we are, locked away. I'll check on that, but like I said, I didn't think there'd be a spare on this, and there isn't. So actually type S means spareless. Who knew? I certainly didn't. But that's a lot of room back there, folks. Should you choose to haul human beings or cargo or both, you are well served by this vehicle. And the lines are beautiful. We actually have, I believe this is an optional paint color. Here, this is your, and I got 2 Monronis on it because, well, that's actually a real long story. Okay, where are we? Looking. I can't tell. Hang on there. This says Apex Blue Pearl. Okay, this is the wrong, this is the wrong Moroni for this exact vehicle. It is identically, the blue one that they sent me is identically equipped to this one, but I actually have another one somewhere that has this particular color. And I'd like to tell you the color, and I will if I remember to look it up and find out, because it's beautiful. It's kind of a silvery metallic wonder. Looks like it's got a heavy dose of clear coat on it, so it's just beautiful. And the styling on the whole vehicle is great. But I think, you know, this is one of those things that, as good looking as the vehicle is, what's really most interesting is the drivetrain. Because that turbocharged V6 is a really interesting machine and a good way to get you around. Now the question is, will it be as economical as they say? Because they say 17 city, 21 highway, 19 overall. That's not great. But it is a big vehicle, and it can tow, yes, 5,000 pounds. So it's just pretty much standard for the class. But I bet it can tow it probably fairly easily because it's a real nice engine with plenty of low-end torque, which you need for your towing. And now that the invader planes are about to sit down on me because they don't like me talking about the non-pilot version of the Honda manufacturing SUV line. They prefer the pilot because, you know, they're pilots. Well, I prefer the MDX myself. Well, behold, the cleanliness, the clarity, the overall coolness of the Acura MDX S-Type instrument cluster. We have a virtual environment here. These are not actual mechanical instruments, even though they mimic the look of a mechanical analog instrument. Your left side's got your that's your tachometer right there. And then you got your little car in the middle. See, I put the brakes on. See there? Look what I did there. Brakes come on. You love that, don't you? I do. And on the right side, we have our speedometer and a variety of choices. There's our compass. There's our oil life, 80%. And that's the original oil in this car, by the way. This thing is brand spanking. 1,491 miles worth of brand spanking new. Then we have our tire pressures, which are, oh wow, we got 37 and 36 and 38. It's all over the map. Well, I'll tell you right, as long as you're within 2 or 3 pounds of each other, you're just fine, folks. There's nothing to worry about. And what else do we have here? Then we have this is our super handling all-wheel drive graphic, which will tell you exactly what wheels are doing when, which is interesting information. And they also have this beautiful little illustration of our engine, which appears to be pretty accurate to me as far as I can tell. I'd have to look much closer with some magnification to see if that is in fact our 3-liter turbocharged V6 engine, but I figured it probably is. And then we have our rear axle doesn't really quite look like that either, but and right now the tires are much cleaner on this graphic than they are. They're all muddy outside. I was just there and I saw it. There's that. Then we have our G meter for those that are doing some wicked, wild maneuvers in the handling department, probably either in the parking lot or something, right? You're behaving yourself out there. You're sure you are. My driver attention level is 0 because I'm not driving. I have that turned off, I believe. I find that annoying. And here we have the darkness, the great blackness that is Halloween. And then we have our safety support system. Some of it's on, some of it isn't. As you can see, there's all this green stuff means that is activated, which is like your front collision, your rear cross traffic alert and all that kind of stuff, plus your blind spot warning. But what isn't illuminated is the lane mitigation, if it hopefully stop you from wandering out of your lane. And I hate that because it's often necessary to wander out of your lane when you're in a semi-rural environment, and it's just annoying. So I have that. Here's our gauge settings. You press down on there, there's speed and distance. Gauge layout. Ooh, what can we do with that? Let's do, there's crafted and there's advanced. Let's go with advanced. Woo! Interesting. Interesting. It's like half, it's like one big round inch. I don't know if I like that or not. Let's go back. I'm going to go back. I like crafted. That's much better. Incidentally, this says lift over here. Well, let me finish with this. I'm sorry. What else do we have? Okay, we're back to our trip computer, which is great because that's where we want to be. We've gone 165.5 miles, and according to the vehicle, I have gotten 19.6 miles per gallon. I'm not so sure about that. If that's the case, that's not very good for a vehicle like this. In this class of three-row SUVs, there's a few out there that can do better than that. But this is like comparing a Lexus RX to a Toyota Highlander, in that if you compare this to the Honda Pilot, which it's based, the Pilot gets a lot better gas mileage, but the MDX has a lot more performance, a lot more power, and same thing with the Lexus RX. It's just the way you're paying for. They assume, I guess, that if you go for the luxury mark instead of the standard mark, you're able to afford more fuel, and when it comes to the environment, you just don't care. Well, I have no idea if that's the case or not, but I've always found it interesting because the upscale versions always mean more performance, more horsepower, and usually more fuel consumption. So that's just the way that is. Now that we've done all that, let's have some fun. Let me take you through the drive modes. At the moment, we're in lift, and that has lifted the car up on its air springs to give us a lot more ground clearance. It actually takes, when I was coming down this little trail just now, I'd say 45 seconds or so for it to completely air up. And which surprised me because I didn't realize until I found the right gauge to look at that it did take that long. But anyway, there's that. We can go to snow, which is this, and we're lowering. Can you tell we're lowering? Oh man, we're lowering. I can feel the lowering happening. Then we have the comfort, which is kind of a blue thing, and then we have normal, which is, you know, normal, dude, just chill. And then we have sport. Sport is crazy. And then we have, if you want to go even further, you push and turn and you go to Sport Plus. And there's even more redness and more excitement. Let me show you all these. We're going to go back through all these on this screen because it's very entertaining. We'll go, there's a Sport, and then Sport Plus. Oops, there we go. Sport and Sport Plus. There we go, Sport Plus. So you went from orange to red. You're all red if you go Sport Plus. All right, now let's go back. We'll go up. That's just regular Sport, which is orange. Then we go to normal, which is kind of, well, if I have to be accurate with you, I have to say it's rather blasé. And then we have, oops, I went the wrong way. And then we go, oops, no, I didn't. I went the right way, sorry. And then we have comfort, which is like a blue mist background with the dullness that is normal. And then we have snow, which is all white. Look at all that snow everywhere. Good God. And then we go all the way to the top to lift, and up we go. Oh, wow, is it actually lifting in the graphic? I don't know. But we're lifting back up now. And as you can see right here is our little gauge. It's telling us how long it takes to go all the way back up again, and it takes a little while. Not this time, apparently. And those various settings also, I believe pretty much every single one of those settings does have a component that alters whatever the setting of the air suspension is. Because in the sporting modes, you're going to have more, a little more firmness to it than the comfort mode, for example, which probably has the least amount of air in the bags. I'm guessing, but I feel very confident in that guess. So that's, we're still pumping up. pumping up, pumping up. And as I'll show you in a minute, or maybe several minutes, I'll do it when I'm underneath the car, which will be later. I'll show you this. We'll get to watch this air suspension in action, because they're always entertaining, because you have to somehow maintain the proper geometry while lifting the entire vehicle up off of its base ride height all the way up higher. So there we go. Over to the left. Woo! Oh, here we have our HUD, and I'll put some power into it and raise it up so you can see it, because I'm not a. There it is. And currently we are going. We're going 0, and the nearest speed limit is in fact 35 miles an hour. Now, is there any content I can change? I don't see it right here. But anyway, if you want to make this go away, I don't know if there's a pure on-off switch. There probably is somewhere. But what I do, because I don't like these things, is I will lower it like so, and it will disappear almost on the horizon. And then I will take the intensity, the brightness, and bang, it's gone. So that's how you get rid of it if you're like me and you don't like heads-up displays. Okay, now our steering wheel. Oh, I should go ahead and whatever. If you push that will tell you exactly where you're at as far as your safety system. And like I said, it's telling me that I do not have road departure mitigation turned on, nor do I want to. So make that go away. There we go. Here's our traction control off. Here is our parking assist, which is on. Here's our overall illumination for our instrument cluster as far as balancing that. You should go at night, by the way, with as dim a setting as you are comfortable with on your instruments, because one of the things that affects your night vision that people don't talk about enough, there was just an article in Consumer Reports, or excuse me, in the AARP magazine. Don't ask me why I saw it, because I'm way too young for AARP. But they had an article about how to improve your night vision, and one of the things they neglected to talk about was one of the most important, is how to look at things that are bright at night, which you look to the side of it, don't look right at it, because it takes you, as you get older, it takes your eyes a lot longer to readjust to the darkness. And when your eyes do finally accommodate themselves to the darkness, it's not as good as it was when you were younger. You can't see as well. But another thing you can do is, if you keep things as low as possible inside the cabin of the car, it helps your eyes from going through that cycle where they see something bright and your pupils actually will dilate a little bit, and then you look back up to the darkness of the road ahead of you, depending on the quality of your headlights, and it takes a while for your eyes to adjust. So anyway, just a tip. The darker inside the cabin, the better it is for your overall night vision. I'm just going to share that with you, because it's also very pertinent to aviation. If you fly anything from a drone to a Boeing 777, you got to know these things as far as what's the best way to enhance your night vision, not disenhance your night vision. Okay, now our steering wheel is fascinating because it has all kinds of things. It has the side-to-side push-pull here, and then it has the uppy-down thing. And in this case, what I'm playing with is the stereo, which is turned off. This will also get you back to, you can go to apps, and you can go back to the page before. Just like with anything else that you ever see this return, that's what that's doing for you. This is the on-off with, what the hell is this turn off? Is this the stereo?
I hate.
Yes. Yes, it is. That's the stereo. Here's your heated steering wheel. Always nice to have in the wintertime. Naturally, the lighting array includes an automatic setting, your parking lights, your regular headlights. You can turn it off, and then you also have your fog lights right down here. I usually don't touch on that because that's pretty much the same on everything now, and it's one of the few standardized things we have left. But give people time; they'll change it. Some people are still putting the windshield wipers over here, especially if you have a column shifter over here, which is It's just something to get used to. If it's your car, you'll get used to it fast. You'll be fine. And our stock over here is all about your windshield wipers, front, back, and likewise. And the windshield wipers on this car are really great, especially in the back, because the back window is unusually large for a gated SUV. You can really see out the back nicely. I'm very impressed with that, actually. And here we have, this is our cruise control center, and as well as our computer access, I think. If we go up here, yeah. I was showing you this earlier. This is how we navigate this side, and you can put in whatever you like. In my case, I like to put the trip computer there. But this is your basic, this is your lane. If you want the car to steer, lane tracing and that kind of thing. Sorry if that's out of focus. There we go. Lane tracing and stuff is right there. This is the following distance of your adaptive cruise control in bars, although I think the bar is actually a larger space than, say, a car length, which some of these bars on some vehicles are pretty much a car length. This is more space than that, I think. And the further away that you are in the car in front of you, the better anyway. You know that. Here's your canceling of your cruise control. Resume, set, very normal. And here's your, you can activate it, and you can use either regular cruise control, or you can get the non-adaptive version, I believe, if I remember right. On this particular vehicle, if you want to go to non-adaptive cruise, you can do that. But if you have the adaptive cruise on and you're steering, it pretty much is an autopilot situation for the most part. And it works okay. It's the steering part of it. Honda still does not have it down, in my opinion. They're getting there, but there's so many other manufacturers I think that are doing a little bit better job in that it's smoother. The transitions are smoother. It doesn't react as dramatically as this does. And they're all dependent on the same thing. They're all reading a camera that's reading the lines in the road. So I just don't, I don't know what it is that with every Honda I've driven in the last several years has been like that. It's fine. It's not bad. It's not dangerous, really. It's just annoying. And it still tends to be more likely to get a little seasick when you start doing this back and forth in the lane. And they'll fix it. I mean, that's just one of those things. It's certainly not, even though you may be a person who is very enamored by the car's ability to steer itself, you're not going to use that as much as you might think if you're in any kind of a situation where there's any traffic. So, okay, our center stack, as you can see, this is one of the most interesting aspects of how they've designed the interior, and something I really, really like. Your touch screen here, which is not even a touch screen, it's operated by a trackpad. That's the bad side. The good side is the size. It is, of course, a landscape-based unit, but it's not enormous. It's actually much smaller than a lot of the ones that are coming on cars these days, but it's a real good size. And the quality of the graphics is the HD view that you get here is excellent. You can really see very, very clearly everything. And there's your home front, by the way. And you got to use this trackpad, and this trackpad and I don't get along at all. I have trouble navigating with this. And whenever you have a problem, Lexus has been like this too. Whenever you have something like that, and it's not the easiest thing, the most intuitive thing, the most tactile thing in the world, you spend more time actually looking at the screen when you should be looking at the road. And that's kind of the whole idea behind this stuff, is if you're going to do all the neat graphics and all the rest of it, you really ought to have a situation where it's very, very intuitive, and you can do a lot of it purely by feel, but you can't on these cars. You have to look at the screen in order to navigate. And like you got your Apple CarPlay and your Android Auto there, and if I want to go to the next screen, what do? You do that. Hear that sound? It sounds like a little bit like Santa's sleigh, a little like a sleigh bell. Phew. Or it could be Marshall Dillon's spurs as he's walking across the sheriff's office. Excuse me, marshal's office. What are you doing, Chester? I ain't doing nothing, Mr. Dillon. See, it's that kind of thing. I don't know why they decided to do that, but I'm okay with it. And here's all the rest of your settings, including Acura Link, which is a Bluetooth, not Bluetooth, a Wi-Fi organized situation. And you naturally have Alexa if you wanted, Android Auto, and I mentioned before, Apple CarPlay, all this stuff that personally I don't ever interact with because I got more important things to do than talk to the damn car. All right. Is he a Luddite? Is he a steampunk kind of guy? Just maybe. Our climate control, again, one of the most standardized things you find on cars these days is the climate control. And this one's excellent. You have all these different push button settings for all kinds of different things, but you just put it on automatic and you can set the temperature. And I have the rear and the front and both zones in the front, the passenger and the driver, are all set together. So you just have one setting for everybody. You have your heated seats right here. You have, is that a massage? Ooh, something's going on with my lower back. I'm just going to leave that on full power. That's a definite massage situation. Wow, it don't look like anybody else gets, oh yeah, the passenger gets that too. That's nice. But you have your heated, you have your automatic, which I guess just adjusts the temperature, whatever. Oh, we'll put that back there. What the hell is it doing? Acura massage seat options. Do not show again. No, I'll leave that on for the next person. Dismiss. There we go. And then you have your ventilation right here too. So everything that's possible for your comfort is being used, including this. This is nice. It's real. I really need this. My back has been bothering me. This is. I may have to sit in this car for about 6 hours. Wonder how long the gas will last here. So, shall we move on? Here's another controversial area. There's just controversy everywhere. Here's our shifter. And no, I'm not a fan of the push button shifting either. I don't know why. It just doesn't seem intuitive to me. I keep trying to put it in reverse when I really want to put it in drive. And that's just a weird thing. That's like a strange tactile. The car just turned itself off. What have I done? Oh my God. Well, I'll fire it back up there. I wonder why it turned itself off. We haven't been sitting there that long, have we? Yeah, we have. But anyway, you'll get used to it. It's not that big a deal. However, I prefer the old-fashioned. Well, there's a lot of different ways you could go with this vehicle. Everybody's playing around with dials, buttons. I mean, just the regular shifters, I think, a pretty good way to go. And I don't know why they're so highfalutin to make that something different. I'm sure they have their reasons, but I think it's more of a styling, futuristic statement more than anything else. Now this is cool. Check this out. Woo! There we have our USB-C and our USB-A interface right there. You want to do that again? Woo! Yeah, that's nice. And then we have our brake hold switch, which you know what that is. That'll hold the brakes. I believe what it does if I turn on here. Is it on? Is it on? Well, usually what that does is, to enable brake hold, push the brake, put on the seatbelt, and then I'm not putting on my seatbelt right now. We're not going anywhere. But anyway, that's the brake hold thing. Here is our trackpad I was talking about that I just don't like very much. You have your back page right there, your home. This is where you can split this up here and put stuff on the side of the little screen, which is cool. And this is, you can adjust what's over here. Oh, and there's that sound again. Marshall, this fella wants to talk to you about this Acura. Okay, Chester. Well, that's amazing right there. And here's your volume and your on-off for your radio, your audio unit, I should say. And this will pump you into the next. You know what's really weird? I just noticed something. There's a smart shortcut thing here. Shall we actuate it? Let's see what that does. But it's a brain. Your vehicle provides quick access to call, music, and navigation when applied, suggestions tailored to you. Well, I don't like it when things are tailored to me, but boy, they have a little brain on there. Brain! I am doing this on Halloween, so, you know, we got brain on the brain. Here we have a gripper for your gripping pleasure, right here, you see. That doesn't do anything. Like, it'd be great if you could accelerate like all 4 engines at once forward, but that's fixed, and it's firm, and it's solid, and there it is. This is where we put our phone. Let's put our phone in. Let's demonstrate, shall we? I'll put the phone in here. And oops, this is our QI right here. And it does a good job. It goes right through the case and charges us up, and there's our fish. Always fish, folks. I'm all about the fish. Some of you who know me, well, none of you know me. You'll learn this in time. I'm all about the fish. Here is our console, and inside we have another USB-A and a power outlet and a fairly deep console. You got some room in there. It's not too bad. Overall, the ergonomics of this are very, very good. There are plenty of adjustments in the seat, and then we have this material here that I believe is Napa leather. I don't even know because it's in the back of the car. I will put on the bottom of the screen, make it all moot and explain exactly what this upholstery is. It feels like leather. Although I've said this many times, and it's really, really true, is a lot of the synthetics they're using instead of leather are so much like leather, it's real hard to tell the difference. Very durable, very comfortable pretty much all season too. Even if it gets pretty hot, they do a pretty nice job. So if you look over here, look at all this beautiful, this is ELS Studio something or other sound system. I'll go into that more later at some point. We don't have sounds of nature. This is not a Hyundai. Our glove box, it's very roomy. Please keep this in vehicle pocket all times. That's your emergency number, I reckon. But there is a lot of really, really nice finishing work that goes on in this vehicle. Overall, you feel like you're getting your pay. It's a $75,000 car, so it's expensive, but you do get a very, very real and palpable sense of quality. And up here, we got our adjustments for our. I'm gonna close the shade here. Isn't that pretty? It's a nice autumn day, and here comes the darkness. Oh, I'll open your back up here. Wait a minute. There we go. There we are. And as you can see, it is pretty capacious. That is a big panorama right there. That's what you want in your panorama nest. So let's check out our rear seating. And there's a lot of it. This is a 3-row after all. Big second row door right there. It opens up about 82 degrees. And we have here a bench seat that is kind of nice. You have this big console here that you can flip up if you know what you're doing. Wait a minute, where is it? There it is. Where this is actuated using this right here. I think. Hang on a minute. Let's do this. Let's put you there. Will you stay there? You won't even stay there, will you? What's gotten into you? All right, here we go. Like that. You see? That's how we do that. That's how we do that. Now, there's a real problem with this right off the bat for me, for myself. In that, oop, there we go. I would like to have some sort of armrest that's higher than this. This thing is really low. It's like down here. So you got to be labeled. You got to be one of your kick back people that likes to kick back like way low, and hang out in this sort of moiety. You don't want to have your arm up any higher than that, and so it's very, very flat, as most bench seats are, to enable people to slide in and out. That's what that's for more than anything else. So I don't know. The seating is as far as room goes, that's all the way forward, and you still have enough room if you're an adult, but you can go all the way back like that. I'm going to put her about in the middle, almost to the front here, because I will be accessing the third row in a moment. But that's really strange. You don't have, if you want to have an armrest, this isn't an armrest. This is kind of like a lower body pausing area for your arm. I wouldn't call it a place that it will rest. But that's just the way it is. But we got so many other nice features, like really nice LED map lights there. And here we have, yep, you guessed it, you got your window shade. I like that. And how far down does the window go? 100%. Top marks, top marks. I do like that. From the couple distance from side to side is huge. So like I said before, you can really get 3 people back here, no problem. I'll leave that down, I guess. This is a completely flat floor down here. There's a little bit of it. No, there's nothing. It's flat. It's flat. So you have plenty of foot room for all 3 people. You have this massive climate control situation right here where you can adjust all these different things and put it on automatic, and it's on automatic now. But you got heated outboard seats. Huh? You got different modes you can put it in depending on how you want to ventilate, or the automatic mode, and then you can go crazy with your on-off switch. That's something that a kid's going to get a hold of, I guarantee. And just turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off, turn off. Jason, stop doing that. That's what's going to happen. You got to remember, keep an eye on Jason. You got your 12-volt power, and then you got, what's this? 150 watt. Look at there, standard electric. So you can run your AC there if you want to. And there's 1,000 functions for that right there. I mean, that's excellent. So you got all this good stuff. And do we recline? You bet. Whoop, not a whole lot. That's all the way forward. That's all the way back. So you can kind of fine tune this to get it just right for yourself. The belt line is pretty low, by the way, so you have very good outward visibility. And combined with this magnificent panorama roof, you have a lot of airy space, and it feels good back here. Now the real question is always this thing about whenever anything's related to the Honda Pilot. The Honda Pilot has always been a champion in terms of here we go, woo! In terms of 3rd row seating, and so we're going to see how our Acura fares in this department. Shut the door here. There we go. And we'll bring this back. Okay, that's all the way back. So this is as cramped as it'll get. And you definitely have a surfeit. Is that the right word? No, it isn't. You don't have a whole lot of knee room or leg room when the seat is all the way back, but it's normally not going to be all the way back. That's the thing. You have a flat floor right there. And what else do we have? We have these beautiful map lights. And we have speakers right here. And then we have, this is your shoulder for somebody. I think that's actually for these people here, you see. They have to have that. And then the 2 belts, shoulder belts are right here for your 2 3rd row passengers. Now this has an armrest that I can live with. This is much better. This is much higher. There is a decent amount of, my head is just about, I'm 5'8", and my head is just touching this, but it's not bad. If you're taller, I think you can fit back here. And if you have the seat a little, if the 2nd row is a little bit farther forward, I think you're going to be very comfortable back here. Is it as roomy as the Pilot? In my opinion, no. I can check the specs and be sure, but I'm very confident in saying no, the Pilot's got more room in the 3rd row than this does. But this is not bad. This is absolutely serviceable for human beings, especially if they're smaller human beings that are younger. They will fit back here just fine. And the best thing about it is it'll get Jason the hell away from the on-off switch to the rear ventilation for the 2nd row. And that's, anytime you can get Jason back here away from you, you're better off, especially if it's a long trip, because he's trouble. I mean, let's face it, he's young and he's crazy. And anyway, so there you go. And there you have your another USB-A port, and one on both sides naturally. And you got everything you need back here. I mean, it's absolutely a good 3rd row situation. So there you go. There's your interior of your MDX S-Type. Or is it Type S? I'll just call it the S. That's much simpler. And it's very, very well finished back here too, by the way. Very nice workmanship. Very nice assembly. Thank you, Acura.
bubbles up. Boy, we do have our V6 turbo doing all its turbo things. Such an interesting construction underneath that hood, where you got that thing put in where the other thing is, and then the middle of the thing is all the stuff. That's pretty much how you describe this particular turbocharging arrangement. Not twin turbocharging, as far as I can tell, but look at the niceness of the engine. Now, so far, it has not been a mileage champ. I've put a total of 35.6 miles on it, and our average has been 16.8 miles per gallon. Don't mess with me, man. I have the V6 turbo. So we'll see. We'll just see over time how we do. But so far it's been kind of thirsty. Not real sure how. And we got construction going on. And overall, this is such a really quiet. I had this. This is a really quiet vehicle, and I had this leaf that was lodged in between the rear view mirror on the driver's side and the body of the vehicle, and it was making so much racket for one little leaf, for one little dried autumn leaf stuck in there. Boy, the wind was coming right through there and making mischief. I'm telling you, serious mischief. So I'm now using, let's see here, I can adjust that to there and there and there. And let's steer, So the vehicle's now steering. I'm just kind of here as Captain Dunzel, if you're a Star Trek fan, original Star Trek. Very, very serious, moody moment when we got to Captain Dunzel, boy. And what was that about? Well, it was about computers running the ship and a human being useless, which we're headed towards. We're going there as fast as possible as I sit here in a car that's steering itself, sort of. And I love it, and it will yell at you and disconnect and do all kinds of things if you don't do exactly what it tells you to do, which means grip the steering wheel. Now, what is this for? Oh, I have another leaf making noise. I wonder if I can get rid of that guy. See, he's stuck on there. Oh, that little leafy's hanging in there. Leaves are amazing. They're tenacious. But as you can see, this is very interesting, and I like the approach by Acura / Honda. This is actually, as modern touchscreen central items go, this is actually very small compared to a lot of them. I mean, it's nice and low, which is good. It's high enough to see easily, but it's low enough so that you can see over the hood with plenty of room. And it's just one of those things where we're getting to a place where they're still kind of trying to decide, and I like it, the idea. I think they're going on a vehicle by vehicle basis in their lineups to figure out exactly how to incorporate a central touchscreen, which they think into the best way to do it. Now, the wrong way to do it, in my opinion, is to have this freaking trackpad, which I just hate these things. I don't know how that works if you have gloves on either. I imagine it works okay. But I mean, everything about this, it's just like somebody that's really fond of trackpads. And this has happened, you know, they're taking the lead from Lexus in a way, because Lexus, I believe, was one of the first I ever encountered that started doing that. And it's just a bad interface. I'm sorry, I don't like it. I think and this one in particular, I have found to be less than intuitive and a bit draggy sometimes. And sometimes I have to literally fight with it to get it to put the pointer where I want it to go. Like if I go back to the home screen here, and as you can see, I'm moving around here. Now, sometimes it works okay and sometimes it does not. So we'll go back over to navigation. There we go. It's just not as easy. And you 100%, like I said, this defeats the entire purpose of so many things nowadays. You have to take your eyes off the road and look at the screen in order to just do some very, very basic things that I believe you should be able to reach out and just do by feel. That's the way we used to do it. It was all a tactile experience. But now that we have this technology that allows touchscreens, let's just put a touchscreen in everything. It's like, I sometimes wonder, did they ever test this stuff? Did they ever really think about it? Or did they just assume that, well, it's the latest grade, let's go. And it's like they don't give themselves. Now, right now, I had to go around this car, and it's fighting me a little bit in the steering department because I don't know why. I don't know why the adaptive cruise control and everything else didn't give it the information to the steering that maybe I want to steer around a non-moving obstacle in front of me. But no, it actually resisted me a little bit. It's not bad. I mean, you can fairly easily overpower it, but I find whenever you have a disconnect between the pure functioning of the steering and that you can feel and other things excuse me, being introduced, like in that case it vibrates a little bit, does all kinds of stuff. And I've already turned off, it had a lane mitigation thing. I've already turned that off because that was really annoying. Because I have to deviate from my lane to be safe. It's one of the first things you learn when you ride a motorcycle, and I've been riding motorcycles for 40 years. You need to use all the real estate you can to keep yourself safe and keep a cushion around you. And sometimes that means that you don't stay right, just totally dialed into the lane itself. It's a whole different shooting match, if you will. We'll see if I can get around this classic Corvette. You know, when I was a kid, I remember this. That's probably about a 70, 72, 74, something like that. I remember I initially didn't like it all that much, but over time it grew on me, and now it looks positively brilliant to me. The latest Corvette is a good-looking car too, but that was just such a classic look. Amazing, really, how your perceptions change. I've always said when you get something nowadays that looks really over-the-top styled, I'll give you an example. In 2014, Toyota altered the Toyota 4Runner so it looked much more aggressive, and I initially didn't like it very much, but over time it grew on me to the point, oh wow, there's a glider going out there, and they're actually towing it with a little tractor. That's interesting. But that's exactly what they would have to do here, because the distance between the hangar where they keep it and where it's going to be taking off behind the tow plane is pretty good ways. What is that? Retirement. What is that? Okay. So we're going to have to do some more of our... you got to check these automated driving systems out. You know, you got to see. Honda in particular, their initial go at self-steering as far as lane centering and all that stuff was, I would say, less than satisfactory. I found it to be queasy. Give it the gun, Algernon. See that little drop when it shifts? There are definitely better automatics out there. This is not horrible or anything like that, but it's just not up to snuff on some of the other ones out there right now. And you got so many different, you know, the conventional automatic transmission is becoming almost, let's just say, not the default position anymore, because we got all these direct shifts and these dual clutches and all kinds of different technologies. See that little child? That little child's trying to frighten me because it's Halloween. But conventional, a lot of vehicles just have conventional automatics that as time has gone on, they've also been refined and tuned, and benefiting from modern technology, and most of them are electronically controlled, which is good and bad, because it's another electronic problem that can cause you. But it's not that much of that I've seen anyway. That's not usually a problem with modern transmissions. It's usually something else. But when you have so many speeds, like this thing's got, what, 10 speeds? See, that's good motorcycle riding right there. You turn right and left in front of somebody, no helmets, no gloves, no proper riding gear, but my God, we're gonna do the lifestyle. It's very disappointing, to say the least. It's a great day for me not to go out riding. Too many freaking people. All right, so now we're going to lock in our cruisy cruise. There we go. And we're going to set her for 60 when we get the opportunity. I hope. All this traffic everywhere. And we'll see how she does. Come on, go in the right lane. Right, pick a lane, dude. I'm just going to drive there. That took them a few minutes. Realized there were 2 lanes to deal with. All right. And now we're on automatic steering. And now we're letting the MDX pilot us. you see what I... now, but anyway, it's steering itself now. And it's moving around a fair amount. Yeah, you know, it's still... I don't know what the deal is with the Honda self-steering system, but it's just not on the same level as a lot of other vehicles, especially in the case of this Acura in this price range. And then it shakes a little bit, and it does all kinds of weird stuff. All right, so now we shall rise together as we go through normal, sport, lift. And there to the bottom there, you can see right there, there we are. We are lifting. 2 bars so far. 3 bars. Going all the way up to 4 bars. And there's 4. So in theory, we are now at our top setting. Although usually when it completely establishes the lift or the descent, it disappears. But in this case, it takes a while because I think it may be fine tuning. So, all right, now let's go down to comfort, and we shall descend. Oh, I can hear the air leaking out of me. There we go. We're down to, how many bars is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of hard to tell on the camera because it looks like it's still illuminated, but we're at 3 bars. We're still on. Now we're at 2 bars. And now we're at, we've disappeared. So essentially what that means is we are now pretty much completely lowered to the comfort setting. And that's how that works. Well, gee whiz on a hot dog bun. So that's an interesting vehicle, huh? Your 2024 MDX super handling all-wheel drive Type S Advanced has a base price of $73,500 with a grand price of $75,295 with options. So what do I really think about this thing? Well, I have to admit I complained a lot about some of the self-driving stuff, but overall it's a really well-made vehicle. But I have to come back to the one thing I love the most about it, and that is that beautiful V6 engine. It's kind of a jewel, and it's kind of unusual, and it's a brilliant thing altogether. So think about it. You guys be careful out there, and we will see you next time.
Whatever the tube tells you, you dress like the tube, you eat like the tube, you raise your children like the tube, you even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.